Hi guys, in this video I'll be sharing my day-to-day schedule for my 4th and my 6th grader. Someone asked me recently if I wouldn't mind sharing how it is we plan out their school days, so that's why I'm making this video. Of course everybody's schedule will be different, so I'm just sharing what it is, how it is we try to plan out the curriculum and stuff that we chose at the beginning of the term, in addition to the other things that we wanted them to do, how we planned to try to get it done this school year. Now we are still in our current school year, so we are still, working with that. But hopefully this might be helpful. All right. Just a couple of things I wanted to mention, and you may be aware of this already. So you can skip through this part of the video, but I just wanted to put it in here that you definitely want to check with your state educational website to make sure that you're aware of the amount of recommended school days, the amount of minutes based on their grade or hours of instructions per day, so that you kind of have an idea, especially for reporting. Now of course some states are stricter than others, so it might vary. To find out or to kind of see in one place the level of strictness based on state, you can check out HSLDA website. I think they have a map. I haven't been on the map in a minute, but I believe they have a map that you can kind of see, click on and see which states, the level of strictness based on the state. But anyway, when it comes to the actual textbooks, earlier on when we first started, what I used to do is I used to find the amount of pages in that textbook and divide it by the 180 days as recommended here, and kind of get an idea of how many pages we needed to aim for each subject. Now I don't do that anymore because honestly we never used to really get never used to really work out like that, but it used to stress me out. But I think because I used to do that, it kind of gave me an idea of average amount of pages we want to try to get done, just loosely, per day, to be able to try to get at least a good portion of it done. As I said, that is not a fast, it's not like, okay, this is what we're going to do, a strict rule or anything, because sometimes they might, like one of my kids like geography, so she might just, do quite a few geography pages. Or they might be struggling in something, and we have to move slower. So of course, that doesn't really work. But as I said, it just gave me an idea. If it is you wanted to kind of aim to finish, at a certain pace, that's just something that you can consider. When it comes to the amount of time that's recommended per subject, when I first started, I used to use the Well-Trained Mind a lot to kind of get an idea of, recommended time for each subject area. Now, I don't really use the exact times that they recommend in there for various reasons. As I said, each child is different. They may need much more time than is recommended in there for specific subjects, and the opposite for others. But also, a lot of the times that they recommended there is a lot longer than probably I want. If I was to add it up for all of the different subjects I'll be doing school whole day. But what it did help me with, however, is just getting a good idea as of what subjects I want them to spend more time in, or I should be spending more time in. At least it was helpful for me. So just mentioning that. All right. I think the other things that I wanted to talk about, I will change the angle so that you can actually see in, like planner sheets I took out. Well, I filled out these two for this video. So these are the actual sheets that I use, but it's not, from my planner, because this have a whole lot of different things in it, and it has my high schooler stuff in there, and plus there's some subjects that we finished with earlier and it's all scratched up, so it's going to be too confusing to kind of go through that. But I have how it is we planned out each subject, and for those that we finished earlier, I'll just kind of talk about that, and I will also mention how our hours kind of flow for the day. As I said, it works for us. It may not work exactly for you, but hopefully it can be helpful. All right, so I'll change the angle so that we can go through that. All right, so this is what our schedule looked like at the beginning of the school term. It has changed up just a little bit since they have finished with some of their subjects. Monday through Thursday, most days their actual main curriculum was scheduled out to last about 4 hours and 35 minutes. So very close to the 5 hours that's recommended out here in my state. But the other boxes that I have here was filled with what we call 20-minute things, and then other curricular activities that they take part in. And they have their little list in their planners, and whatever it is they get done for that day, I would put it in here. So that would definitely, go over the 5 hours plus. We would often, depending on what it is we are doing for science or something, it would run past the 30 minutes, but schedule it's 30 minutes. So Monday through Thursday, it's scheduled to last 4 hours and 35 minutes, and then on Fridays 3 hours and 30 minutes, because we have other things that we need to get done on a Fridays, so we have shorter days on a Fridays. That is very few actual textbooks, and then they do some online stuff. All right. So most of their language arts subjects takes them 15 minutes, with the exception of writing, whether it's the building writing skills on Monday and Friday, or their classical writing. All of their writing takes them 30 minutes. Everything else within the language arts, I have language arts block 1 and 2. We don't really use the block system, but I just have it labeled like that for, instead of just having language arts. Anyway, everything else takes them 15 minutes. All right. Math 30 minutes, science 30 minutes, social studies workbook, when they were doing that, because they're finished with that now, 30 minutes. American history, this is the big fat notebook that I'm doing with them, that takes us 30 minutes. Now, in place of the social studies workbook, what I have them doing on a Monday and Wednesday is that they pre-read, and then we come together and discuss, watch videos or whatever, to kind of get a little bit more of what it is they are reading in the big fat notebook, because they everybody has they have a copy and I have a copy. All right. But before, they were doing the social studies workbook on a Monday and Wednesday, and we were doing the American history together with the big fat notebook on Tuesday and Thursday. Now we're doing American history every day. It's just that they read on a Monday and Wednesday, but any day. Doesn't matter what it is we're doing, whether they're reading or we're working together. It takes us 30 minutes to do history every day. All right. Then geography, same thing, 30 minutes. Now, earlier on in the term, they were doing financial literacy, and we are finished with, we're not using that book anymore. Now, there were a few exercises that I could have done with them that we decided to skip. So, but all in all, we're finished with that financial literacy book. So now they just have geography. Now, some days, in place of the financial literacy, I will have them, do their geography workbook, but also sometimes I will assign them one of the financial books from the Osborne set for them to read, whether it's the money, business, or whatever. We've had that series for quite a while, and I think even as we are going further, maybe they can get a little bit more out of it. I find that series to be simple, but laid out really well. So sometimes I assign them that one of those books from that series to read. So geography or financial literacy or one of those financial books, all of that takes them 30 minutes. And then they have their typing, which is 15 minutes, and personal reading. Every day they read for 20 minutes. Monday through Thursday, 4 hours and 35 minutes, and a Friday, 2:30. So that's how our plan look. As I said, not every single day would things work out perfectly, but it at least gives us something to aim for. One last thing that I want to mention is math. Even though they do 30 minutes every day for math, right now I have my sixth grader, my eldest, my sixth grader, doing more math. So she's not really doing just the 30 minutes. She's doing 30 minutes scheduled, but then in the evening I will have her do a few questions, and then on a weekend, if I can squeeze it in, I'll have her do a few questions here and there, because we need to work on math. So if it is we have a subject, any subject that we are struggling in, instead of trying to squeeze it in during the school day, I would find, like, during their free time, or maybe a few minutes on a weekend. So all of that kind of adds up, and in my opinion, counts towards the time that they recommend you school them, as you're homeschooling them. All right, hopefully I explained that well enough. All right, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully that was helpful, and I will talk to you in another video. Bye.